Today on Us Weekly's Reality Recap, Craig Conover breaks down Austen and Taylor's hookup.
I think there's a true love there.
Love is Blind's Milton reveals what it was about Lydia that made him propose.
It just kind of from like day one, it just kind of felt like a hit. It just kind of felt like a match.
And Bre Tiesi reveals where she stands with Chelsea after their Selling Sunset drama.
As a grown-up, like, I don't care if you like me or not. I mean, I can coexist with anybody.
And Lala can't slams Raquel Leviss for blocking Tom Sandoval. We've got that plus so much more on today's Us Weekly Reality Recap. Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here, and welcome to Us Weekly's Reality Recap. We have a ton of news this week, from Vanderpump to Love is Blind to Southern Charm. We are covering it all, but before we get into it, like always, we wanted to see what you guys had to say about last week's show. Kathy Miller says, poor Taylor, she needs to get over Shep. He is not worth it. And then at Free to Love says, the guests aren't losing their money. That was addressed like a week ago. Captain Lee said that they were contacted and told that they had until the 13th to cancel the reservations and get a full refund, or they could still go and have a little vacation instead. Well, we'll have to wait and see if anybody does make this into a vacation, but still, if they knew that the wedding was canceled and didn't let their guests know by the time they were supposed to get their money back, that is definitely not a good look. All right, let's move on to our news of the week and kicking off some Vanderpump news. So during Lala Kant's Amazon Live on September 18th, a viewer asked for her opinion on Raquel blocking Tom Sandoval on Instagram and making the social media move publicly known. Well, she said, as Lala does, in a sarcastic tone, well, I see the mental health facility really helped her. She has just come so far. She's just so removed from this world. You know, I really tried, dude. Rachel, I really tried, and you are just beyond helpless. She said that she wasn't aware of Raquel and Tom's Instagram back and forth, but added, if you had something to say, you should have strapped on your ovaries and you should have come on the show after you blew everyone's world up, and you should have addressed it. But instead, apparently, all you learned from your time away is you get on social media. You don't know how to face your issues in person because you're a coward, and that's the dumbest thing I've heard all day. I kind of have to agree with her. You know, yes, she's taken some time and, you know, has taken her time in the mental health facility. Hopefully she's working on herself, decided not to come back to the show. But if you're going to make public remarks about Tom on Instagram, you should have kind of manned up and went back to the show. And now it makes me think that she didn't come back to the show all because of the money and not because of her well-being. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if Raquel does speak out a little bit more about this on social media. I know Tom Sandoval is about to do a podcast with his friend Billy Lee. So we'll see if Tom addresses this even more. But we do know, sources did tell Us Weekly, that Tom and Raquel have not talked for 3 months. And I think she wants to keep it that way. All right, let's move on over to Selling Sunset, because Amanda Smith settled her feud with her co-star Chrisley while in the hospital earlier this year. So back in May, Chrisley confessed during an interview on Sirius XM Hits 1 that her and Amanda's feud began after they were partnered up on a project for the show. However, Chrisley didn't want to get involved in the storyline. She didn't want her spouse G-Flip involved in any on-screen drama. So the following month, Amanda was then diagnosed with a blood infection and was in the hospital until July. So Amanda told Jana Kramer on her podcast, when I was in the hospital, Chrisley reached out to me and it made me so emotional, and I wrote her back. In my head, I was like, what the F are we even arguing about? We've talked since and we're good. I don't even think I have 1 ounce of anything in me that could feed into any of that. So I'm glad that the two of them are back on track. You know, they've been friends for a really long time. Chrisley definitely seemed to be at odds with a lot of people this past season, including Mary. Of course, the whole drama, you know, the drug allegations and things like that. But she and Amanda have been friends for a long time. So Amanda noted that she has a low tolerance for things that aren't important. And I guess, you know, fighting with Chrisley is not important to her at all. Well, there's definitely going to be a lot of drama in the upcoming Selling Sunset Season 7, which is just around the corner. And I recently spoke with Bre, who had this to say about her drama with Chelsea. Take a look.
Watching it back, what surprised you the most about what people were saying?
I think it was just, I mean, all of it, honestly. Yeah. I think in the beginning, obviously, I knew I was going to ruffle some feathers, and I knew people didn't like my situation and whatever, and that's all expected. I think just the level of the drama with the one we will not name. I didn't know it was as bad as apparently. I didn't know she was as upset as she was. So I guess seeing that and then being a little bit, out of the postpartum and a little bit more neutralized, I was like, this is interesting. I guess I didn't pick up on this as much.
Do you wish that people, the person we shall not name, was a little bit more open to just getting to know you on a deeper level, on a personal level, rather than making all these assumptions?
I mean, honestly, yes and no. It's like as a grown up, like I don't care if you like me or not. I mean, I can coexist with anybody. I can be in a room and be neutral and be cool. If you don't like me, I don't care to make you like me. You're welcome to your opinion, and that's fine. And I don't really think there's a way of like changing that. I mean, you have your reservations based off of your beliefs. So I don't think that's something that's going to change, nor do I really care to change that for you. But I definitely think that she starts to figure out a little bit more who I am for sure.
All right, moving over to my other Netflix obsession, Love is Blind. So Nick Lachey addressed the season 4 reunion of the show, which was, of course, that big Alive event, which took place back in April. It ended up being delayed by 16 hours. I know I was sitting there being like, what is going on? So he talked to Andy Cohen on Andy's radio show, and Nick acknowledged that the technology failed. I mean, put it lightly, when it came to executing the idea, adding, but to your point, a reunion, there's so many things you want to flesh out, so many things you want to get to, and try to do that in a timetable that's finite is not the way to go. So Netflix, of course, like I said, made headlines when we couldn't watch the season 4 Love is Blind special at its advertised time. It was set to premiere at 8 p.m. People couldn't watch it till the following day. So it was definitely a huge technical snafu. And I do have issues with the Love is Blind reunion, not just the technical issues aside, because I just feel like it's so rushed. I feel like we don't get a lot of information that we want. I do like how Bravo does their reunions, kinds of spaces it out between 3 different episodes. Maybe they just need to make the reunion a little bit longer, which I would like. So we'll have to see. Maybe they'll change things up in the upcoming season. And speaking of the upcoming season, Love is Blind Season 5, it just kicked off and it is jam-packed with drama. I am absolutely loving it. The first 5 episodes have been released. Of course, I binged them all. And if you didn't, spoiler alert, Lydia and Milton do get engaged. So we caught up with Milton about what it was about Lydia that made him want to propose. It seems like going forward, why was Lydia the right choice for you in the pods?
I think when it really just comes down to it is our values were the same. Like we had the same morals. We wanted the same things out of life. It just kind of from like day one, it just kind of felt like a hit. It just kind of felt like a match. So we just wanted to really pursue that and see where it could take us.
It seems like you and Lydia had an instant connection, right off the bat, especially right after you met each other. What was it about her that you just felt so comfortable with? And what would you say was the biggest challenge that you had to face coming out of the pods?
I think the thing that I liked most about Lydia is we're so similar in a lot of different ways. Like when it comes to like what industry we work in, and, we're both born on islands, but when it comes to our like emotional intelligence and like, being vulnerable, we are on the complete opposite ends of the spectrum. And that's something I really value because, there's a part of me that understands like, hey, maybe this is abnormal. Maybe I am a little bit like too emotionally reserved. And Lydia's like on the whole opposite end of that spectrum. I'm like, surely there's a middle ground that we need to meet. So I think that really just drew me towards her. And then after the pods, just like any relationship, there's work. I often refer to being in a relationship often like being in school. You have better semesters, you have some great semesters you're on the dean's list, and there's other semesters like not so good. So it's learning that balance of like, am I going to take thermal physical properties or materials? Am I going to take thermodynamics? I'm going to add Cal 3 on top of that. Well, if I do, I'm surely going to take an art class. I need to keep that GPA just high enough.
Well, let us know in the comments if you think Lydia and Milton make it down the aisle, if you think that they are happily engaged. I mean, with all that drama with Uche, I don't know, but stranger things have happened on this show. All right. Well, finally, things are heating up in Charleston as this season of Southern Charm is underway. And while we are waiting to see how the drama with Taylor and Austen plays out, Austen's BFF Craig had this to say. You know, so in this upcoming episode, the rumors start circulating about Taylor and Austen.
Yeah.
When you first heard those rumors, did you believe it? Because they have had a very close friendship for a long time.
You know, it's one of those things that it's so, you know, it's so out there. Like you have all of this, like they would post on their Instagram a lot together. Mm-hmm. And I remember like warning him like, hey, this might not be the best idea to be spending this much time with Taylor. But, you know, they said that they were just friends and Shep enjoyed it because, you know, Shep admitted it felt like a life raft to Taylor. It was his way of staying connected. So when it finally came out, you shouldn't be shocked because you're like, oh, it was right in front of her face. But yeah, I was. I mean, I was shocked to hear. I was shocked to see how uncomfortable Austen gets in this moment. And, you know, you're just hoping that it's not true because I feel like our friendship's in a great place. But where there's smoke, a lot of times there's fire. Yeah. And this season's just a wild ride. So again, JT, you know, it's funny because JT's obsession with Taylor is the whole reason this happens. Because JT...
He's the missing puzzle piece.
Yeah, he's telling Shep that, you know, he likes Taylor. And Shep's like, sure, whatever. Like, okay, JT, you can like Taylor. And he's like, so that's why I'm jealous of all the time she's been spending with Austen. And Shep's like, well, what do you mean by that? So, yeah, JT did a good job this year.
So everybody got on their investigative hats and kind of looked into it. I was talking to Madison not too long ago, and I asked her, I was like, do you think that they actually make a good couple? And she said yes. I mean, messiness aside, do you think that they would?
Yeah, because I think there's a true love there. I'm not saying that they're in love, but I think they love each other like brother or sister. I think they, you know, were going through weird relationships. Austen and Olivia was mostly Austen's fault that it was weird, but they were still going through a weird time and they were really close. And Madison has said that for a while. She says it this episode too. Yeah, I think in another world or even this world, I mean, no, it's too messy in this world, but in another world, if her and Austen had started to date before her and Shep, I think it would have been a clean relationship.
Right. Well, yes, Craig and Taylor did go at it in the first episode with Taylor accusing Paige of actually cheating on Craig. Well, Paige was not having this at all. She commented on an E! News post about the scandal with someone saying that Paige is a little too lazy to even cheat on Craig. And she's like, I totally agree with that. So Paige is not here for the drama. She's not here for the cheating allegations. She and Craig are just fine. All right. Well, that is it for this week's episode of Reality Recap. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on this new season of Love is Blind. It is just so good. The drama is next level. It's amazing. And please let us know what you're thinking about this new season of Southern Charm. We'll check in with you guys next week. For more news content and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.